Have you heard about the GLP resistant foods that they're trying to create? Or maybe they've already created it. Take a look at this.
But I just think GLP-1 in particular. But have you seen how now, like, big food companies, for lack of a better term, fast food companies and then chips and snacks and all of that, have you seen that they're working on GLP-1 blockers in their food?
So they will basically become Ozempic resistant.
They are trying to make food now that can resist Ozempic and Mounjaro and all of these drugs because the people who take this aren't eating junk food and aren't becoming overweight and aren't getting sick and are becoming more fertile and are becoming like, they gamble less, they buy less, they smoke less, they drink less, they shop less, they do everything less of the unhealthy. Yeah. And because of that, they're actually going to make food that is going to block the block so that they can get you back into that. Sorry, that's like...
I wonder what that's going to do to people who really weren't in this at all. If you just like regular Doritos and you aren't going anywhere near Ozempic, are you going to be like, look, I'll do anything for
you might be,
like, are you going to lose your mind?
You
or
might be crack hungry, actually.
Feel it?
No, you actually might be crack hungry because GLP-1 is produced naturally, as I understand it, right? So it's something that your gut is supposed to produce when you are full. Most food hacks that feeling, but if you have a healthy gut, your stomach tells you, okay, you're full. So now to your point, if it blocks that, we might get like crack Doritos now.
The truth is that there have always been systems in place to keep marginalized populations sick, deprived, oppressed. It's really nothing new, to be perfectly honest. But now they're not even hiding it. Like, when I say it's in your face, they're not hiding it, right? Creating foods that are resistant to GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, that is diabolical. Creating foods specifically designed to bypass the tools that people are using to get healthier. Ask yourself, why would anyone do that? Profit in the problem. The longer you struggle with your health, the longer you stay a customer. Instead of supporting people on their wellness journey, they create new roadblocks just to keep selling the very things that keep you stuck. Let's be honest. I don't think it'll be a label on any of this food that says GLP resistant, just like it won't be a bright warning sign that says this food was engineered to override your medications. So now what? Do you avoid processed foods altogether? Do you start questioning what's been done to your produce, like the GMO stuff? How far will it go before even your best efforts feel sabotaged? That's the part that's really frustrating. People are trying. They're doing the work. They're trying their best. They're listening to health professionals, shifting their habits, making serious lifestyle changes, and yet something always seems to get in the way. Not just a barrier. Sometimes it's a straight up blockade. And then here's the cost of, $500 or more for this medication? That's ridiculous. That's not sustainable. Where access is also an issue, right? Here's the part I can't let slide. If this is true, how could anyone deny that there are other systemically placed barriers, especially for marginalized communities? This isn't anything new. There's always been the pattern. It's been happening since colonization. Obstacles have been created, opportunities denied, outcomes manipulated. All the while, people are just told to work hard or try again, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, right? Meanwhile, anyone who raises concerns get labeled as too deep or woke, which they made that into a bad term, but whatever. Or just plain dramatic. Look, if you'd rather not see it, that's your choice. Stay comfortable, stay asleep. But for the ones who do see what I'm talking about, for you all who know that these systems profit off of our struggle, it's not just frustrating, it's exhausting. So what do? Make a plan. Stay locked in. Use every resource available to you and reach beyond when you have to. You take your health seriously, you need to fight for your life, because trust and believe there are systems and people out here fighting for control of your life, and I'd rather you have it than them. That's my 2 cents. Take it or leave it, it's free.
You've probably heard of Ozempic, but there's something much worse on the horizon for the drug: capitalism. You see, the problem is that this drug is cutting into the profits of the food industry. Walmart's chief executive in the United States, John Furner, has actually complained that GLP medication is causing people to put less food in their carts. The New York Times reported that sales are down in sweet baked goods and snacks, and the industry is weathering a downturn. By one market research firm's estimate, that food and drink innovations in 24 reached an all-time nadir, with fewer new products coming out than ever before. The great thing is that this drug doesn't just cut down on your total food intake. It also changes the type of food that you want to eat. People who take the drug are reporting enjoying the taste of regular unprocessed fresh fruit and vegetables more than ultra-processed refined sugar-based foods. Some have even told the New York Times reporter that junk food no longer tastes like food to them. This is great if you're trying to live healthy. Not so much if you're trying to sell junk food. Health-conscious living has always been an obstacle for capitalist profits. In 1996, PepsiCo produced a line of potato chips with 0 calories in them. What was the secret? They had a fat substitute called Olestra. This was an indigestible, meaning it passed through your system, but it also impeded the absorption of essential vitamins, and it caused fecal incontinence. Now, Olestra is used to paint decks and lubricate power tools. Companies discovered that louder crunching chips caused people to eat more of them. This caused the companies to amplify the crunching noise made when eating them. Artificial sweeteners were created to amplify sweetness hundreds of times past natural sugars would be capable of producing. Junk food manufacturers altered the structure of salt crystals to accelerate the speed at which they were absorbed into chemical pathways that signal saltiness to make the taste more intense. Well, people cutting down on junk food isn't going to cut it for capitalism. The profit margins of junk food companies aren't just going to suffer because you want to be healthy. The whole food industry is dependent on you being unhealthy, which is why a company called Madison is in the process of making GLP-1 optimized products. That's right. Junk foods that would bypass the health effects of Ozempic and similar drugs and re-trigger the addictive mechanisms in your body. Yes, getting people re-addicted to junk food. Capitalism, by its own necessity, is literally trying to get you addicted to junk food that will kill you so that they can fill their pockets. If they don't do this, they'll go out of business. Isn't the real market mechanism here that they should switch to industries, to healthier foods? Isn't this how the market is supposed to work? Instead, it's just straight up trying to kill you. What's important here is to recognize that this is not some aberrant behavior. This is not some CEO just acting in an unethical way to make money. This is the very mechanism of capitalism itself. This is its internal logic. This is how it functions. This is what it's supposed to do. This is what it does. This is what it can only do. It can't do anything else. It is not going to deliberately make itself unprofitable. There is no just saying this is something that we can just regulate. I guess in theory you could just regulate, but then you would destroy an entire industry and you would cause all kinds of negative effects across the economy by doing so, which is a problem that would not exist in socialism because deliberately creating unhealthy foods, deliberately getting people addicted to junk food is something that would not happen. So you can't just sit there and use the usual liberal line of, we'll just regulate it and then therefore this will never happen, or this isn't a real problem anymore kind of thing. It is. This is caused by capitalism itself. There is no claiming that it's not. This is the very real deep core essence of the system and how utterly inhuman it actually is and how detrimental to human life it really is.